Most people think they'll die in a crisis because they ran out of food, or water, or because they didn't have the right gear. Wrong. The data from every major collapse, every natural disaster, every grid-down scenario tells a completely different story. The first people to die don't die from starvation. They die from 5 specific, predictable, completely avoidable mistakes. And the terrifying part? Most of them never saw it coming. Today I'm going to tell you exactly what those 5 things are. And after watching this video, you will never make them. Let's go. Thing number 1 that will get you killed first in a crisis: being visible. When resources become scarce, and they will become scarce faster than you think, visibility becomes your single greatest liability. Here's what I mean. The moment people around you know that you have food, water, medicine, or fuel, you stop being a neighbor and start being a target. This is not a hypothetical. This is documented human behavior in every single resource scarcity event in recorded history. In the 2010 Haiti earthquake aftermath, FEMA researchers found that individuals and families who visibly displayed their supplies, openly cooking outside, carrying water containers in plain sight, running generators where they could be heard, were significantly more likely to experience theft, confrontation, and violence within the first 72 hours than those who kept their preparations hidden. The prepper community calls this OPSEC, operational security, and most people are catastrophically bad at it. They post their preps on social media, they tell their coworkers, they let their neighbors see delivery boxes stacked in the garage, they run the generator at full volume at night. In a crisis, every person who knows you have something they don't is a potential threat. The rule: before the crisis, prepare quietly. During the crisis, operate invisibly. Cook at night. Use blackout curtains. Keep generators inside or muffled. Don't discuss your supplies with anyone outside your trusted circle. Visibility kills. Invisibility survives. Thing number 2 that will get you killed first: dehydration. Not starvation, not cold, not violence. Dehydration. This is the single most underestimated threat in any survival scenario, and it is the fastest killer on this list. Here are the numbers. You can survive roughly 3 weeks without food. You can survive roughly 3 days without water. In hot conditions, exertion, or stress, that window drops to under 24 hours. And here's the part that makes it so dangerous. By the time you feel thirsty, you are already dehydrated. Your decision-making is already impaired. Your physical performance is already degraded. You are already losing the fight. Studies from the U.S. Army Research Institute show that a water deficit of just 2% of body weight reduces cognitive performance by up to 25%. At 5% deficit, physical performance drops by 30%. At 8%, you have a medical emergency. In a crisis, you will be under physical and mental stress. You will be moving, working, and sweating more than usual. Your water needs will be higher than normal, not lower. Most people's water plan is, "I'll find some." That is not a plan. That is a death sentence. The minimum standard: 1 gallon per person per day stored. A Sawyer water filter for field purification. Knowledge of every water source within 3 miles of your home. Right now, before you need it. If you don't have at least 2 weeks of water stored right now, stop watching this video, go fix that first, and come back. I'm serious. Nothing else on this list matters if you die of dehydration on day 2. Thing number 3 that will get you killed first: a medical emergency with no plan. In a functioning society, a cut that gets infected is an inconvenience. You go to the pharmacy, get antibiotics, and you're fine in a week. In a grid-down scenario, that same infected cut can kill you in 10 days. This is not an exaggeration. Before modern antibiotics, infected wounds were one of the leading causes of death in otherwise healthy adults. We have simply forgotten how lethal basic infections are, because we have never had to face them without a pharmacy nearby. In any sustained crisis, medical infrastructure is one of the first systems to become overwhelmed and inaccessible. And the people who die aren't dying from dramatic Hollywood injuries. They're dying from infected lacerations, dental abscesses that spread to the jaw and airway, appendicitis with no surgical access, unmanaged diabetes, prescription medication running out, childbirth complications, allergic reactions with no epinephrine. None of these are exotic crisis scenarios. All of them kill people every year in countries where medical infrastructure has collapsed. The minimum standard: a real first aid kit, not a box of Band-Aids. Broad-spectrum antibiotics. Consult your doctor now before you need them. Knowledge of wound care, infection recognition, and basic trauma management. A complete list of every prescription medication in your household, and a 90-day supply where possible. Most importantly, take a Stop the Bleed course. Take a Wilderness First Responder course. These skills are free or cheap to learn, and they will absolutely save a life someday. A medical emergency with no plan is not bad luck. It is a choice you make right now by not preparing. Thing number 4 that will get you killed first: bad group dynamics. You will not survive a serious long-term crisis alone. We established that in the last video. Community is survival. But here's the thing nobody tells you about community. The wrong community is more dangerous than no community. Every historical record of collapse scenarios shows the same pattern. Groups that lacked clear leadership, shared values, established rules, and genuine trust didn't just underperform, they actively destroyed each other. Internal conflict is the #1 cause of group failure in crisis scenarios. Not external threats, not resource shortage, not bad luck. People turning on each other. Here's why it happens. Crisis amplifies personality. Whatever character flaws exist in a person before the crisis, selfishness, deception, aggression, cowardice, those traits don't disappear under pressure. They intensify. The charming neighbor who always borrowed things and never returned them? In a crisis, that person steals your food. The coworker who always had an excuse for not pulling their weight. In a crisis, that person is a drain your group cannot afford. The person with anger issues who kept it together in normal life. In a crisis, that person becomes a genuine physical threat. What the surviving groups do differently. They establish group rules and roles before the crisis, not during it. They have an explicit conversation about what happens if someone doesn't contribute, or steals, or endangers the group. They vet who is in their group based on character and skills, not just on proximity or sentiment. They have a designated decision maker for emergencies, agreed upon in advance, so there is no power struggle when seconds count. Your survival group is only as strong as its weakest member's character. Choose carefully, build deliberately. Thing number 5, and I would argue the most dangerous thing on this list: panic and poor decisions under pressure. We talked in our last video about cognitive tunneling and normalcy bias. This is where those failures become fatal. In a crisis, the moment you panic, the moment your brain floods with cortisol and switches from rational mode to survival reflex mode, you lose access to most of your planning and knowledge. You do things that made sense in the second they were decided, but are catastrophically wrong in retrospect. You abandon a safe shelter too early because the discomfort felt unbearable. You use critical supplies in the first 24 hours that were meant to last 30 days. You make yourself visible because the loneliness and fear became too much to bear. You trust the wrong person because you needed to trust someone. You don't leave when you should have because leaving felt permanent and staying felt like things might still be okay. Every one of these panic-driven decisions has killed real people in documented crisis scenarios. How to inoculate yourself against panic. Practice discomfort deliberately. Sleep on the floor. Skip meals. Sit with discomfort instead of immediately relieving it. The more familiar you are with physical and psychological discomfort, the less power it has over your decisions. Run scenario drills. Sit down with your family or group and walk through: what do we do if this happens? What do we do if that happens? Pre-made decisions short-circuit panic. Breathe. It sounds absurdly simple, but tactical breathing, 4 counts in, 4 counts hold, 4 counts out, has been proven in military research to reduce cortisol response and restore prefrontal cortex function in high-stress situations. Panic is not inevitable. It is a skill you can train against. Now that we've covered all 5, let me show you the pattern. Because these 5 things are not random, they are connected. Being visible leads to confrontation, which triggers panic. Dehydration impairs your judgment, which causes poor decisions. Poor decisions in your group create bad dynamics, which fractures the trust your survival depends on. Medical emergencies without a plan create panic, which leads to more bad decisions. All 5 of these things feed each other. In a real crisis, you don't usually die from just one of them. You die from the cascade, one failure triggering the next, accelerating until the situation is unrecoverable. This is why the 90% fail, not because they're dumb, not because they're bad people, but because they have never seen the pattern, and they walk straight into it. The 10% survive because they understand the chain. They break it at every link before it can form. They are invisible. They are hydrated. They have a medical plan. They have the right people, and they have trained their minds against panic. That is not luck. That is preparation. I don't want this to be another video you watch and forget. So here is your specific action plan. 5 things. 1 per killer. Do them this week. Action 1. OPSEC audit. Walk through your home and list every way a neighbor or stranger could know you have resources. Generator noise, visible garden, bright lights at night, social media posts, delivery boxes. Identify and fix your 3 biggest visibility liabilities. Action 2. Water audit. Count how many gallons of water you have stored right now. Divide by the number of people in your household. That number tells you how many days you can survive. If it's less than 14, order water storage containers this week. Action 3. Medical audit. Open your first aid kit. Is it a real kit or a box of Band-Aids? Make a list of every prescription medication in your home. Look up the Stop the Bleed course in your area. Book it. Action 4. Group audit. Write down the names of 3 to 5 people you would want in your survival group. Then honestly rate each one on skills, character, trustworthiness, and physical capability. Have at least one conversation this month with the most important person on that list. Action 5. Stress inoculation. This week, skip 1 meal. Not because you have to, because you need to know what controlled hunger feels like before uncontrolled hunger hits. Sit with the discomfort. That feeling, managed and chosen, is worth more than any gear you could buy. Let me leave you with something that ties all of this together. There is a hierarchy to survival, and most people have it completely backwards. Most people think survival is about gear first. The actual hierarchy looks like this. Tier 1. Mindset. Your ability to stay calm, make decisions, and adapt. Without this, everything else fails. Tier 2. Water. Nothing functions without it. Everything else is secondary. Tier 3. Security. Not tactical gear. Security of information, security of visibility, security of your group's integrity. Tier 4. Medical. The ability to keep yourself and your people functional. Tier 5. Food and shelter. Yes, this is Tier 5. You have far more time to solve food and shelter than most people think. You have almost no time to recover from failures in Tiers 1 through 4. Tier 6. Gear. Gear matters, but it is the last thing on the list, not the first. If you can internalize this hierarchy and actually build your preparation in this order, you have already separated yourself from 80% of the people who think they're prepared, but aren't. 5 things. Visibility. Dehydration. No medical plan. Wrong group. Panic. Any one of them can kill you. All 5 together, and you are the statistic. But now you know. And knowledge, when you actually act on it, is the most powerful survival tool that exists. So act on it. This week, not someday. Drop in the comments, which of these 5 is your biggest current weakness? I read every single comment, and your answer might become the next video. Subscribe and hit the bell, because the next video covers the exact 30-day preparation calendar that fixes all 5 of these weaknesses one by one. Stay sharp, stay invisible, stay prepared.